Hey everyone, it's Olga from Olga's Flavor Factory, and today I am going to be making chicken stir fry, but using a very unconventional method. Instead of using a skillet or a wok like most recipes call for when you're making stir fries, I'm going to cook everything at the same time on this large baking sheet. We're going to prep the chicken and the vegetables for the stir fry first, get those in the oven, and then we're going to make the sauce at the very end. So we'll get to the sauce ingredients later, but for the chicken, I'm using boneless, skinless chicken thighs. The vegetables, I'm using a red onion, some celery, carrots, zucchini, and mushrooms. Of course, as with all stir fries, you can use other vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, bell peppers. Those are really great for stir fries, so you can use those in addition or instead of these vegetables. And on my website, I'll break it down and tell you what time to add the vegetables to the sheet pan because, of course, they cook at different rates. So some you'll need to add sooner and others you're gonna need to add at the very end. Before I start prepping all the vegetables, I'm actually going to start preheating the oven and put the baking sheet right in there so it gets really hot. And it's kind of like we're preheating the skillet, we're preheating the baking sheet. And this is an extra large baking sheet. When you're able to spread your ingredients out much more, the air is able to circulate more around each of the ingredients. It gets more browning. So I really like this. If you don't have one, if you have one of these, now this is a typical half sheet size baking sheet. You see how much smaller it is? If you want to use this one, just use less of the chicken and vegetables, so have the recipe, or just do it in 2 batches. That will work too. Slice the chicken into 1/2 to 3/4 inch strips and place it into a large bowl. Season it with minced garlic, salt, ground black pepper, olive oil, and some dry herbs. Mix it all to combine. In another bowl, combine the carrots and the celery and mix it all together. The oven is preheated to 475 degrees Fahrenheit with the baking sheet in there. The first step we're gonna do is we're gonna put the chicken and the carrots and celery in on the baking sheet. We're gonna spread it out in one layer. If you're gonna use broccoli or cauliflower, you would put them in at this point too. Put the chicken with the carrots and celery into the oven for 5 minutes. Then take it out of the oven and add the mushrooms with the red onion on top of it and spread it out in one layer. As you can see, this is a lot of vegetables and chicken. So this is what I was saying why you need this extra large baking sheet. But since this is a lot of food, you can easily have the recipe. So I spread it out like this. The chicken, the carrots, and the celery are not cooked through at this point, but they did get a nice head start on the mushrooms and the red onion. We're gonna put it back into the oven, and this time it's gonna be in the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes. Meanwhile, I'm gonna slice up our zucchini, mix that up with some olive oil, salt and pepper, and some dry herbs. And that is the last thing we're gonna add to the roasting pan. For this last part, we're just gonna get into the oven for about 3 minutes because zucchini doesn't take a lot of time to cook at all. And then to get a little bit more char on the vegetables and the chicken, we're gonna turn on the broiler. Keep an eye on it because it can burn really quickly, and just get the color that you want because at this point all of the vegetables should be cooked through. The timer is about to go off in the oven, and now we're going to make the sauce. For the sauce, I need some chicken broth, soy sauce, mirin, honey, cornstarch, and some garlic. We're gonna whisk it all together in a small saucepan and bring it to a boil, reduce it to a simmer, and cook it until it thickens and becomes nice and syrupy. dinner is done, and I'm just tossing the sauce together with the vegetables. And I love that the chicken has some color on it because it was on the bottom of the baking sheet, and the vegetables from the top got some color too, especially when we were broiling at the very end. But because we cooked it on that high temperature on this big baking sheet, they got some color, some char, more flavor, and that's why I didn't add any soy sauce to the vegetables or the sauce right to the baking dish, because it would have all just steamed. Any moisture in there at all would have prevented the roasting to happen and just made everything steam and kind of boil together. So at the end, we add the sauce. My mouth is watering. I can't wait to get some of this over a bed of rice. I love that I don't have to stand next to the skillet, get sprayed with oil, and have to cook everything in batches. It's all cooked on the baking sheet at the same time. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen. Go to Olga's Flavor Factory to get the printable recipe. And if you want more stir fry on the sheet pan ideas, I have another great one with shrimp, so check that one out as well.